Tajikistan, the crossroads of mountains and cultures. Tajikistan, a landlocked nation in the very heart of Central Asia, is often called the roof of the world. It is a country where jagged peaks, deep valleys, and ancient trade routes converge to form a landscape as dramatic as its history. To many, it remains a hidden place on the map, remote, misunderstood, and overshadowed by larger neighbors. Yet for those who venture into its mountains and cities, Tajikistan reveals itself as a living museum of civilizations, a place where Persian roots intertwine with Turkic traditions, Soviet legacies, and modern aspirations. A country of heights. More than 93% of Tajikistan is mountainous, making it one of the most vertically dramatic nations on Earth. The Pamir and Alai ranges dominate, with summits so high that locals call them the Celestial Mountains. The crown jewel, Ismail Samani Peak, rises to 7,495 meters, one of the tallest in Eurasia. Near it lies the Fichenko Glacier, stretching over 70 kilometers, the largest glacier outside the Arctic and Antarctic. These highlands are not barren wastelands. They give birth to mighty rivers, like the Voksh and Panj, which carve valleys and provide lifeblood for agriculture. The Nurek Dam, towering at 300 meters, harnesses this energy and was once the tallest dam in the world, producing much of the country's electricity. Remote lakes sparkle between the mountains, Iskanderkul, tied to the legend of Alexander the Great, Yashilkul, a turquoise jewel, and Karakul, born of an ancient meteor impact, still holding secrets beneath its icy surface. Layers of history. The land of Tajikistan is as old in culture as it is in rock. In ancient times, it formed part of Bactria, a cradle of Zoroastrian faith and Persian civilization. Later, under the Achaemenid Empire, the region became a vital satrapy, a frontier between East and West. When Alexander the Great marched through Central Asia in the 4th century BCE, he founded cities like Kujand, still one of Tajikistan's cultural centers. Centuries later, the region flourished under the Samanid dynasty, which gave Tajiks their modern sense of Persian identity. Ismail Samani, the dynasty's great ruler, remains the symbol of Tajik nationhood, his name honored by both the highest mountain and the national currency. The Silk Road threaded through these valleys, bringing Chinese silk, Indian spices, and Arab scholarship. Turkic migrations, Mongol invasions, and Islamic culture layered themselves over Persian foundations, creating the unique blend of traditions that still define Tajikistan today. In the 19th century, the Russian Empire expanded into Central Asia, absorbing the region into the Tsar's domain, and later into the Soviet Union. Soviet planners redrew borders that left millions of Tajiks in Uzbekistan and Afghanistan. When independence arrived in 1991, Tajikistan faced a devastating civil war, but despite the scars, the nation rebuilt under the long leadership of Emomali Rahman. Cities and regions. The capital, Dushanbe, takes its name from the Persian word for Monday, once just a village that hosted a weekly bazaar. Today it is a city of contrasts. Soviet-era apartment blocks sit beside new glass towers, while wide boulevards lead to monuments of national pride, including the massive flagpole that was once the tallest in the world. The city hums with bazaars, tea-houses, and cultural institutions. In the north lies Kujand, a city that has seen Greek, Persian, and Soviet rule. Its bazaar remains one of the most vibrant in Central Asia, filled with dried fruits, nuts, and spices. Other notable towns include Kalab in the south, a center of Tajik heritage, and Korak, the capital of Gorno-Badakhshan, perched high in the Pamirs, closer in spirit to Afghanistan than to Dushanbe. Tajikistan is divided into 4 main regions. Suvt Province, a fertile and historically rich land in the north. Katlan Province, a southern breadbasket of cotton and wheat. The districts of Republican subordination, which surround Dushanbe. The Gorno-Badakhshan Autonomous Region, GBAO, a vast highland home to Pamari peoples and breathtaking landscapes. Peoples and traditions. Tajikistan's population of about 10 million is overwhelmingly Tajik, speakers of a Persian dialect that preserves echoes of ancient poetry. Yet within its borders live other communities, Uzbeks in the valleys, Kyrgyz in the mountains, Russians in the cities, and the Pamiris, whose languages belong to a unique branch of the Iranian family. The Yaghnobis, descendants of the Sogdians, still preserve a language that connects modern Tajiks to ancient traders of the Silk Road. Religion plays a central role. About 95% of the population follows Islam, mostly Sunni, though Pamiris practice Ismaili Shia traditions, blending Islam with older spiritual customs. Despite the deep faith of its people, the government maintains a strict secular policy, often limiting public expressions of religion. Celebrations are vibrant. Nowruz, the Persian New Year, marks the coming of spring with bonfires, music, and games. Weddings are grand affairs, sometimes lasting several days, with feasts of plav, fresh bread, naan, dumplings, manti, and endless streams of tea. Hospitality is a cornerstone of life. No guest leaves a Tajik home without food, conversation, and laughter. Nature and wildlife. Though forests cover only a small part of the land, Tajikistan is home to some of the world's most elusive animals. The snow leopard, symbol of the high mountains, prowls its ridges, though only a few hundred remain. Marco Polo sheep, with their enormous spiraling horns, roam the Pamir plateaus. Bears, lynx, and eagles add to the wilderness, while endemic fish like the stone loach inhabit high-altitude lakes. Protected areas such as Tajik National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, safeguard these fragile ecosystems. Ecotourism is slowly emerging, as adventurous travelers come for trekking, mountaineering, and glimpses of wildlife found nowhere else. Economy and struggles. Tajikistan is rich in water but poor in wealth. Hydropower supplies nearly all of its electricity, and new dams promise to make the country an energy exporter. Cotton, once forced under Soviet planning, remains a key crop, while fruits and nuts from the valleys fill local markets. Aluminum smelting is a major industry, powered by abundant electricity. Yet Tajikistan faces steep challenges. Remittances from workers abroad, mainly in Russia, account for a large portion of the national income. Drug trafficking routes from Afghanistan cut through the country, complicating its development and security. Despite poverty, Tajiks are resilient, relying on family networks, tradition, and an enduring sense of community. Sport, music, and identity. Sport in Tajikistan blends ancient and modern. Wrestling, Gushtajiri, is the pride of the nation, with champions celebrated like heroes. Buzkashi, the wild horseback sport played with a goat carcass, remains a favorite in rural areas, echoing nomadic traditions. Soccer is the most popular modern sport, and the national team is slowly carving a name for itself. Music is deeply rooted in Tajik life. The haunting tones of Falak, mountain songs of longing and fate, still echo in the valleys. Instruments like the dudur, ghijak, and rubab accompany folk music, while contemporary pop and rap connect younger generations to the global scene. Poetry, from the verses of Radaki to modern writers, continues to shape the Tajik identity as much as food or music. Ties beyond borders. Tajikistan balances between powerful neighbors. Russia remains vital for remittances and military presence. China invests heavily in roads and mining, making it Tajikistan's largest trading partner. India maintains a close military relationship, even operating an airbase, while Iran is a cultural and linguistic cousin. Relations with Uzbekistan, once tense, are now friendly, easing travel and trade across the Fergana Valley. This web of connections reflects Tajikistan's role as a small but strategic nation, linking South Asia, the Middle East, and Central Asia. A nation of endurance. Tajikistan is not merely a country of mountains, it is a land of memory, resilience, and hope. From the poetry of the Samanids to the bustling bazaars of Kujand, from the snow leopards of the Pamirs to the tea shared in Dushanbe, every corner of the nation tells a story of endurance. Though it may appear remote and overshadowed, Tajikistan is a hidden gem, a place where history and nature meet, and where the spirit of its people shines like the glaciers that crown its peaks.